Welcome, folks. Another edition of Figuring It Out. We have Ron Schlecht, we have Steve Austin, and we're going to take a little bit of a turn here from what we do in terms of InfoSec. This time, we're going to cover how to get into martial arts. And I'm fortunate enough that Steve is a longtime, tremendously close friend, grew up together, and he just happens to own a jiu-jitsu school. And when I was chatting with Ron about maybe bringing Steve on to do a different topic, because we've done a couple good InfoSec topics of late, Ron has a bit of history in martial arts. So I'm the odd man out. I don't have any foundation. I just know people that know stuff. So with that said, maybe Steve, introduce yourself, your gym, where you at?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Great idea you guys have here on getting out info. Of course, my name is Steve Austin, not the actual wrestler, unfortunately. I'm located in Southampton, Pennsylvania, right outside the Bucks County area, and my gym's name is Scion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We cover jiu-jitsu is our main core, but we cover like all aspects of martial arts, grappling, striking, fitness. So it's not just coming in, throwing on some pajamas and rolling around. We want to make sure everybody understands the different styles of jiu-jitsu that are out there. But yeah, I've been in martial arts for almost close to 25 years now. Jiu-jitsu specifically, going on 19. Started with Taekwondo, Kempo, got more into the grappling arts as I got a little bit older, and that's kind of consumed me from there. So,
very cool. Yeah. And Ron, what did you do? You did you had some Western PA martial arts, which means right. Whoever happened to trickle their way to Western.
It was called Coal Cracker. You just kind of like whatever you could pick up and throw at somebody is what we did. Now, I mean, first off, I'm surprised that Matt has many friends outside of work. Most of his friends that he talks about, I think, are just made up, quite honestly. And then the other part, Steve, is I was kind of hoping that as part of the intro, you smashed a beer and chugged it or something like that. But I get where that would get confusing for folks with the whole name.
Might get sued with some rights if I do that.
Right. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of interesting because I've kind of been on this thought train again of getting back into some of the martial arts. I got started when I was really young. And, quite honestly, as we had talked about before this had started, people were like, well, why'd you get into it? Because in the 80s, in the early 80s, I just wanted to be a ninja. Like, I just thought that was my destiny in terms of my career. But then what I learned from it, kind of growing up through the years, was it was a lot more about discipline and, kind of like the title of this series, this YouTube series, it was figuring it out. So it was kind of adapting and overcoming in certain situations and sometimes making the best out of a situation and kind of working through it. So I stuck with it, unfortunately let it go kind of by the wayside in my college years because I was away from anything meaningful as far as a dojo, and then never really got back into it because I couldn't find the right school to be a part of, right, and kind of find that discipline and fit it into my new work schedule and all of that stuff. But I think I'm back there now, so it's something that is more common, right? Matt laughs because I don't have any time, but at the same time, I think it's part of the equation for me. Maybe bring a little bit of sanity into my life by throwing somebody around.
It's actually like I was saying, one of the things that I've seen as a byproduct with this is it actually becomes a form of therapy for us.
Yeah.
Like the stress relief, it's an exercise, but it's not just like by yourself at the gym lifting weights. You actually have to be part of like a community and interact with others. So there's a lot of other things that you're getting from the workout, not just your endorphins and your dopamine. You're getting those interactions of serotonin and oxytocin working with partners that it becomes a form of combative therapy in my eyes. And that's why I like to tell people, like, that's really what I'm selling, not martial arts, not jiu-jitsu, not self-defense, not teaching you how to fight. I'm really teaching you how to deal with yourself and the world around you. You know, it's an amazing byproduct that comes from it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've always thought that, when just seeing people, adjacent to Steve throughout the years, one, it's a bit cultish, the BJJ kind of thing in general, not as bad as CrossFit. And I'm not trying to throw any haymakers.
Or do you have a Peloton?
Yeah. No. Or a Peloton. Yeah. You can't even get them now anyway. But you know, it was amazing, that sense of community. But what also was amazing, the way Steve is very right. And I think I can legitimately say this, even having not done it, but, you know, you're really up against yourself, and nothing like having, you know, another 300-pound guy laying on top of you and trying to like tweak your arm or put you in a bad spot to let you discover who you are and how you'd react under stress. Right. And it's stress inoculation. And you can get that. You pump an iron, sure, you can get that. You know, I do some triathlon stuff, you can get all that, but it's just what's your fix, right? And Brazilian jiu-jitsu has exploded. I think we were saying earlier, part of the challenge of getting into it is just knowing where to go. When Ron, you were saying, like, you know, you throw a rock and you hit 5 different gyms. It's not like the 80s when Steve thought he was going to be Snake Eyes from GI Joe and there was one gym in the vicinity that did it all. Right here in PA, in Southeast PA, it was like Tiger Schulman's, who I think is still around. Right, I'm just naming names for sake of locals that might pick it up, but everyone has that local gym. So, you know, how do you find something? Right, Ron's getting back into it, he's signing up this weekend. What does Ron go do?
I am.
He's all excited.
Well, it is interesting because, of course, jiu-jitsu now is a little bit more mainstream than it was in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000. You know, at first, like, nobody really even knew what jiu-jitsu was. Everybody thought, well, like karate, and they don't realize it's a form of grappling, very similar to wrestling and judo. You're still making that contact. You can have strikes involved. Yes, we teach how to strike with jiu-jitsu, but it's really, how do I defend myself against somebody that's throwing strikes, control them, subdue them, and keep both of us safe in this altercation. You know, if we're at a family event and one of the, you know, Uncle Johnny gets a little too drunk, I don't want to just start, like, you know, karate chopping him in the neck and front kicking his nose in. So I have to still protect myself, but I have to also keep my partner safe as well. Like, I do a lot of work with our local law enforcement on hand-to-hand combat with them, because especially nowadays, everything is being scrutinized and changed. You can't just start just hitting somebody for, you know, I think this is what how I'm going to keep myself safe. So, you know, it has become, you know, a way to, again, control yourself, where therefore I can control my attacker, my partner, however you want to look at it. And for me, over the years, like, the more training that I've done, the less altercations I get into outside. You know, growing up with Matt, like we were talking earlier, I got into martial arts because of bullying. Growing up with medical issues, I was a very easy target, and it was more than just internet bullying back then. It was very, like, right in front of your face. Like, I'm getting pushed and shoved because I'm walking with a limp after surgery and trying to go from English class to science class in high school.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like it was prison rules, just trying to get to one end of the school to the other. And you have to defend yourself. And how do we do that? Where do we start? And nowadays, it's a little bit easier to kind of show with jiu-jitsu because there's no hiding on the mats. Like, I can't have this mystical, like, well, what if scenarios? I'm going to backhand fist this guy here and keep myself safe and walk away. There's no hiding on the mats. You're going to find out if you're legit or not, and if you know your stuff. So with a beginner not knowing where to start, of course, most people go to the internet. You can go down YouTube and go through this whole wormhole of jiu-jitsu and see, like, a universe of moves and things that you have no idea what it is, and it can be very overwhelming. Usually what I recommend somebody do, find what's in your area, do your search on who that person is, who their affiliate, what their name is, because you may have a big name, you know, athlete out there, their name's on this building, but it's an affiliate. So they're actually never in that facility training. And you went there because of their name. You know, like, it was like if you went to a Mike Tyson boxing gym, but it's just his name, he's never there. It's somebody that's affiliated with him.
He's too busy growing meat these days. Yeah.
I'm messed up when Applebee's isn't there every time I go.
So it's you want to do your research. One of the nice things about social media is most of us are on there now. A lot of jiu-jitsu gyms are constantly pumping out content on social media for more awareness. I mean, Instagram is my favorite for jiu-jitsu because you can just watch a quick 1-minute video at the longest and kind of see what it is, where it's going. And for where I'm at, I can see that technique, go back, play it. I don't need too much instruction. I'll play it around with it, break it down, go back, do my math, see where I messed it up, where I got it right. So seeing the content that the instructors in the gym put out, how they interact with everybody, but also mainly the vibe. Go in there, try it out. Don't just sign up at the first gym you go to. Check out a couple in the area, see what they offer, how the vibe is. A lot of gyms are a little bit different. Some are very culty, like what we were talking about. I kind of like strayed away, me personally, from like bowing the students in because I don't like that culty feel. It's like, yeah, man, I'm the head instructor, but I'm really just the most experienced student on the mat right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the world's greatest jujitsu and all the be all, but it's, I don't personally like that culty. Now, some people really like that kind of militant discipline structure of the class. And some people need that in their regular just routine where they like to kind of line up and know the hierarchy of where I am. I kind of prefer that more of like the Knights of the Round Table concept. Like we're all equal parts here.
Right.
Like, I can't get better if you're not here.
Yeah.
And you can't get better if I'm not here. So where do we go from this? We're equal partners in this in a way.
Yeah.
So
It's sort of true though. I mean, even with our business, it's, one of the things that kind of sticks out when you said to go to talk to people and kind of try it and see how it fits. And it's not even just like customers or potential clients when they first start talking to us. It's also people that work here too, where it's like, if you're not a cultural fit, or if that doesn't match culturally, then it doesn't matter how great of instruction you get or how great of a service that we provide. But like fundamentally, when we think about like what people need to do, like we're the experts and we can talk to them, but we know almost, I don't want to say immediately, but we know pretty quickly, like, is this going to work or is this not going to work? Because you need to be well aligned in terms of what your thoughts are and how you want to approach things. And we get a lot of people that are like, I know that I need to do this, but I don't know what, or like, just guide me in some way. And I'll tell you what, I think it's good. Like if you take that approach with, potential students that come in, they probably really like it. You know what I mean? If you're like, yeah, go look at a couple different places and like,
I usually recommend that. Like even like I've had students come in, they're like, no, I want to sign up right now. Listen, take a week, try the classes, make sure like, not that I don't want to make money, but I also don't want you paying me and then you're like, you just disappear. Like, that's great. That's free money, but I rather.
Yeah, it's the same way with us. It's like, well, yeah, like we obviously have a business to run and we want to, be able to make money or make revenue, but at the same time, exactly, we want something that's a little bit more meaningful, right? We want the right fit. We want, to be able to demonstrate why it would be good to work with us. So it kind of feels like the same way or same approach in that respect.
Yeah, and in reality, like we're kind of like kings to our own little kingdoms when we're in our gyms too. So you have this authority on how you want to run that. Some people have a very closed door policy, like, no, you're not allowed to go cross train with any other gyms. That's not part of our clique and our affiliations.
Yeah.
I have a very open door policy. Like I could care less if you went and trained with my competition next door,
Yeah.
I personally like when people cross train because you're getting information that one, I may not have, and two, it's not part of my normal game. So learn it, bring it back, and share it with the group. And it's kind of like a communal thing, but you get these tribe mentality kind of like atmosphere in some gyms. And if that's your thing and that's kind of your personality, that's the gym for you. If that's not for you, like I personally don't want to go sign up at a gym. Like a lot of the Brazilians, when they came over, had feuds with each other. So this Brazilian moved to this part of the state, this one moved over here. And then Matt and I don't see each other too often. So he starts training with this guy. I start training with this guy. And we're like, hey, I got a friend that trains over there. Can I go train? They're like, no, because him and I don't get along.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Matt and I have been friends since 8. Well, I can't go train with my friend because of whatever happened to you guys like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird thing. So like I personally, and once you tell me I can't do something, I'm like, all right.
you're gonna do
He's
it.
never handled that very well, if we're being
No,
fair, kind of
I'm
like
not handling it-
existentially.
I'm not handling it well this year either.
Yeah.
But so that's why I said, like, get a feel for a place. You know, go in there, buy a month. Like, if somebody's trying to like sell you on like, hey, you got to sign up for contract for year, and maybe just take it easy, check out another gym. You know, see what's around. The average person will travel about a half an hour for like going to somebody that they really favor the train with. So look outside your normal 5-minute drive, see what else is around. Also find out like what is their policies with other gyms. Are you allowed to train with other people? With jiu-jitsu, you definitely need to have a core home, because for like rank promotion, like I have to know how you're progressing. I have to know where you're at in order to say, hey, you've reached this kind of level of rank, you know? So yeah, we do need to have that relationship, but it's also like, I don't want you paying me for a year just so I give you this later. Like there has to be this growth and this progression that takes place. I also personally, when a student comes to me and says, hey, you know, I want to go train at this other gym now for a little bit, we do develop a very close bond, but to me, it's also like, all right, good luck. My door is always open to you. A lot of gyms take that very personally, where it was almost like you were in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, and it's like, hey, I don't want to be with you anymore now. I'm going to go be with this person, but if I don't like this, I'll be back. It's like, it doesn't really work that way, but for me with the door, hey, go train. If it does, that's your gym, that's your gym now. If it didn't work out, come on back, you know, come train.
This is why I like to have these conversations, because there's so many similarities, you know, across, and it's obviously a very, very different business, right? But at the same time, it's just funny culturally how we kind of deal with the same things. You know, we have customers and we talk to folks and people are like, I think I want this. And it's like, well, this is how we do it. Somebody may do it differently. If you want to get their perspective on it and get pricing around it, then go forth. Here's a couple people that I know that do that sort of same thing. And then we also, you know, talk to people like that. And we're like, well, you know, if you're going to use somebody else for this particular thing and you've been using us, that's great. I mean, that maybe priorities have changed, or maybe you want to do it a little bit differently, or whatever it is. Let us know how we can help you. It's never like this pressured sort of like, no, ours is the only way. And I mean, there are businesses out there that are, you know, successful businesses that handle it like that. But I'm not, you know, I've always kind of said, like, in no matter what business, my competition's out there, but there's probably enough, you know, there's enough providers like in our space that I'm like, we can all still be successful and still be all competitors. So like, everyone have at it. We're all going to do it different. Right.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, a lot of times having competition really does help, because not every place is going to be the same. You got Pat's and Gino's, one of the most famous cheesesteak places in Philly, literally right next to each other, completely different styles. But yet neither one of them have ever gone out of business because of
then Mama's Pizzeria comes in and bam, best cheesesteak. No, just kidding.
He doesn't know about Mama's. We gotta take him down.
Gotta get him down to the office.
Gotta go down to Bala.
But you know, and that's why I tell everybody, like, do your research, just go check it out. Really feel how the vibe is, and kind of go from there. You know, that's really what it comes down to. But you do have these people that they try to like lure you in and hook you that first moment. Like, I'd rather you come in, watch a class, because honestly, when I first talk to a lead, a client, however you want to talk about a new person reaching out to me for information, I usually have like a checklist of questions. Like, one, how did you hear about us? Because I would like to know, was it a referral? Was it my website? Was it social media? Was it something you saw on a video online? Whatever it was. Or somebody's like, I want to know jiu-jitsu, so I just searched closest to me, and you're the first one that popped up on the SEO. All right, cool. My website's doing its job. Good to know. Now, what are you looking for? Like, do you have any experience? Are you looking for competition? Are you looking for self-defense? Are you looking just to get back in shape? Are you looking to become the world's badass guy? You know, like, what are your goals? That's usually very helpful from the beginning, because then I kind of know where I need to direct what you're going to be looking for.
Yeah.
I'm law enforcement, so I don't want to do any competition. I only want self-defense. Okay, cool. This is the schedule that you're going to have, and these are the classes. Or no, that's not what we focus on. Maybe another gym would be something for you. A lot of jiu-jitsu schools focus more on the sport aspect, with there's no strikes, there's rules. And for somebody that's going into it for self-defense, they may say, yeah, jiu-jitsu is great for self-defense, but they're never teaching how to block a punch. They're never showing that in that gym because they focus more on sport, competition, and those set of rules. So that gym may not be for a law enforcement guy or for somebody who's specifically just wants self-defense.
Yeah.
But then you go to like an old school like style jiu-jitsu place where it's only self-defense. You get a heavy competition guy who's like, no, I want to compete like every week. That gym may not be for you. So that, again, knowing what the student wants and being honest with that student too, and I think that a lot of places make that mistake. Like some people seek martial arts for self-defense, and then they get lured into a tournament all of a sudden at a competition. And like, well, I don't want to do this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
I figured I'll get it out of the way. I think everyone should know at this point, you don't have to be, 6 foot chiseled in fantastic shape, right? Because we want people of all shapes and sizes. Or I've just, knowing you as long as I have, being at all your schools over the years, seeing the people that are around, it's everyone, right? It's moms, it's dads, it's kids, it's everybody. So that's the thing.
I'm only 5'7", 175 pounds walking around. I'm not a big dude. The average jiu-jitsu guy is just the average looking dude. It's actually a lot of memes and jokes about all the nerd jiu-jitsu people out there that beat up these muscular dudes.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of comical.
Ron's all mad now because he can bench press like a whole lot and squat. He's like, oh man, this little guy's going to throw me.
Listen, more than once I've had my ass kicked by somebody that weighed about half of what I weigh. So I know the score when it really all comes down.
But then again, that also goes back to what we were talking about, like where I'm located. I'm on a street that's mainly industrial stuff.
Yeah.
You can see, but it's not like I got a big window out front. I noticed that being in shopping centers with what we do, if you walk by and you see a heavy training session going on with, like you said, chiseled guys all tatted up, looking like they're trying to kill each other, and you've never done any form of martial arts, you're going to be immediately like, no, that's not for me. And that person could have been a lifer in jiu-jitsu, somebody that it could have benefited greatly, but they were scared off by an extreme situation of it.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to everything with that. I just noticed that I personally like to know what that person is looking for, so I can kind of cater to that need versus throwing them into like general population, per se.
Yeah. Very cool.
So Ron, when are you signing up? As we can wind things down. We'll let Steve get some lunch.
Right. My sign up will probably be slightly delayed. I have that surgery coming up in 2 weeks, so I'd hate to start and then be out for like 3 weeks right from the get-go.
Sounds like a built-in excuse.
Maybe I wait until I'm recovered a week or so after that and then start my search all over again. But next time I see you, Matt, I'm going to kick your ass. That's basically what I'm working towards right now. Yeah. Actually, I can't say that, but
we got
I think I just did.
A group just for that. The guys that want just to beat other people up. That's usually when we let the 120-pound chick beat you up.
Yeah. I
like,
mean,
sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ron. I'll have Steve teach me like the one move that's like like I'll just hit this pressure point, you'll just fall down. It's all kinds of like secret. Like I watched a lot of movies in the 80s. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Nice. Very cool.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for taking your time out of your day. Ron, thank you for joining us. Hopefully folks got something out of this. I think, Steve, you shared a lot of really good perspective on folks are going to be interested in this stuff, and there's a right and wrong way to kind of go down that path, and you can YouTube and Google yourself to death. But I think, walk away with nothing else, but go meet a bunch of people, see where you click. Right.
Yeah. It really comes down. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's also a little nerve-wracking walking into, like, you're walking into a fight gym per se, and it can be intimidating. And that's another thing, is how do the instructors deal with that? Like, how do they interact and make somebody feel comfortable about to get beat up?
Yep.
It's kind of tough. And, and then you have to deal with what if you get that aggressive guy where you got to tone them down, and then you get the passive guy where you're like, I got to kind of pick you up a little bit, and it's a fun experiment to play.
Well, I appreciate you, Steve. Thank you for all you do, training up folks. And Ron, thanks for taking the time. Have a good day, everyone.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Take care.